Today marks 11 races into the 2024 AT&T Champ Car World Series season, and the climb for the IndyCar World Championships continues through Grant Park in downtown Chicago. Welcome everyone to ABN coverage of the Champ Car World Series all season long, from Adelaide to Fontana. The halfway point approaches quickly. This is race 11 of 24 in the 2024 season. And again, we come to Chicago, second year in a row that we've been in the streets of Chicago. And we're set for another interesting race as we were last year here in downtown. Going to be a very straightforward two-stop race. Some drivers may try to stretch it on one stop, but two stops seems to be the favorable direction everyone wants to go in this race on the primary compound tire. This was the successful tire that we had last year as well. Going into this race, pretty self-explanatory gap going into this. 22 points is the gap between Evangeline Porter and Mia Valdez. Wyatt Jones in third, BK Glover in fourth, both of them having all right weekends in Nazareth just a week ago. Elise Alexander, Kage Kobayashi, Artyom Kozlov, Thomas Rogers, Mateus Michelin, and Alicia Kovalkiewicz round out your top 10 in the points. Those will be running alongside the bottom of the screen here on the bottom ticker throughout this race periodically. It is Nicole Lechty, the defending world champion, on pole position for the first time in 2024. Hot off the heels of her teammate, Simona Leroux, starting on pole position last race in Nazareth, the Sunday race in Nazareth. Lechty now gets to do the same thing. It is Nicole Lechty and Evangeline Porter, championship leader, on the front row. Stephanie Porter-Kelly and Alicia Kovalkiewicz sit in row number 2. And a lot of important people in terms of looking for points in this point of the season are at the front of the field. Lechty, Porter-Kelly in third. Hazel Leon, nothing to lose here, but that 32 car could use a little bit of a pick-me-up after the rough season it's had here so far. Simona Leroux, another driver that needs a pick-me-up here in row 3 alongside Leon. Row 4, Artyom Kozlov, who won the Saturday race in Nazareth 8 days ago. It's an all Verizon Team Impulse row 4 with BK Glover alongside Kozlov there in 8th. Sakura Ishibashi and Mia Valdez round out the top 10 with an all-Cat Devil Racing row 5. Just outside the top 10, Andrew Draco and Natalia Velisevich start in row number 6. Row 7 for Cameron Jackson and Elise Alexander. They sit ahead of Wyatt Jones and Mateus Michelin, who sit in row number 8. Again, low positions for the 25 and the 99, sitting there 15th and 16th on the grid. They've got some work to do to climb up the order. Shufan Zhang and Juliet Takani sit in row number 9. Juliet Takani took a 10-place grid drop for an engine failure from Nazareth. Kage Kobayashi and Thomas Rogers sit in row 10. They round out the top 20. Then it's Catherine Hart, who won last time out the Sunday race in Nazareth alongside Esther Hofson. Marcus Petrovich, Bianca Lucero, they sit in row number 12. In row 13, last row of this 26-car field, is Astra Crane and Anastasius von Sonnen. Von Sonnen has a 10-place grid penalty that he cannot serve right now because he's qualified 26th. Astra Crane served the rest of her penalty from Nazareth that she had for that engine failure. So everyone's serving penalties or having a penalty waiting for them next time out when we leave Chicago. So important drivers front of the field. So Lechty obviously trying to get her championship back on the right track. Same with Porter-Kelly, trying to get her championship back on the right track after having a near miss at Indianapolis, a bad Saturday race at Nazareth, and a good recovery on the day 2 race, the Sunday race, a week ago. Alicia Kovalkiewicz from 4th on the grid will try to poach some positions away. It's all about gaining positions and points on the 81 car sitting front of the field, outside front row here today. We're entering that part of the season where these races will be more and more important as we go along. But we ought to stand at track side for those most famous words in all of motorsports here in Chicago.
Drivers, start your engines!
Right on cue, to command the fire engines, and it's a very short lap, not enough time to get heat into the tires. as we get ready to go racing in Chicago. Chicago and Mid-Ohio, they round out the first half of the season. Let's go ahead and get the DoorDash Grand Prix at Chicago underway. We're racing in the Windy City. "87 laps, 2 pit stop race is what we're forecasting. And Lecty's got an early jump. Making their way down to the first heavy braking zone of the lap of this race. Tight confines here in Chicago, the Grant Park Street Circuit. .2-mile racetrack as we watch them go around the fountain here in Grant Park. "12 turns around this racetrack as the field rolls through and complete lap number 1 successfully. There's Valdez. Still sitting in the 10th spot. Under threat right now is Artyom Kozlov by Simona Leroux. Through 12 turns here. This is turn 6 we're looking at now going down the hill towards turn 7. And now around Congress Plaza Drive. That's getting underway quickly here. Hazel Leon sitting in the 32 car. Sitting stationary right now, top 5 for Leon. There's Kovalkiewicz in 4th. Evangeline Porter lost a spot to Porter Kelly. Porter Kelly started this race 3rd, up a spot. So it's Chevrolet 1, 2, then a Ford and a Toyota. Your top 4 at the moment as things stand. Down through turns 4 and 5 now. Very tight complex there. That's Leon. There's Leroux. There's Kozlov, who's been passed by the Swiss Miss. So put Kozlov down to 7th. Leroux up to 6th. That's Glover, Kozlov's teammate for Verizon Team Impulse, sitting right there in the top 10 as well. 8th place for Glover. Ishibashi, 9th. Valdez still gatekeeping the top 10 as they round for East Congress Plaza Drive here in the Grant Park circuit. Valdez looks like she's trying to make a move on Ishibashi here to try to take a spot and get up to 9th place. But Ishibashi stronger through turn 11 and turn 12 to finish the lap here. Emery Compound Tires brought for this racetrack with a lot of bumps, a lot of character. A lot of tire degradation at this racetrack. It is going to be a fuel mileage race as things run. The undercut will be the heavy favorite tactic here. You see some cars in the wall. There's Michelin that slides out of turn number 2. That was a spot loss to Takani, potentially more. There's Wyatt Jones trying to make his way around. Michelin holds on and fends off from Jones, who sits in the 17th position. Not a place he wants to be at so far. There's Thomas Rogers, 2-time race winner so far this season, in the 18th spot. And it's Kobayashi. There's Esther Haasson, Bianca Lucero, and then Marcus Petrovic. is Asher Crane and Catherine Hart. 24th on the field. Anastasia Sponsoren and Shufan Zhang last on the racetrack. You saw some skid marks there at a turn 2. This is who caused them, Shufan Zhang. After the couple here between Shufan Zhang and Karina Sakurauchi are happy this weekend. Sakurauchi getting her first career win yesterday at Watkins Glen in a wild fashion. You can catch the replay of that race on ABN Plus. Shufan Zhang, however, not having a great time, sitting 26th and last so far, having had to make a pit stop for a flat tire after making contact with the wall on the exit of turn 2. Race leader still, it is Nicole Lecty. Over Stephanie Porter-Kelly, Evangeline Porter in a distant third, being chased down by Alicia Kovalkiewicz and by Hazel Leon. Simona Leroux in the 6th spot, trying to close in on this chance at the top 5. Then you have Artyom Kozlov, the race winner from Nazareth, the Saturday Nazareth race, sitting in the top 10 ahead of Glover, 7th and 8th. Ishibashi and Valdez still holding up the top 10 where they started this race. This race was a strategy race last season. Expecting to see more of the same here this afternoon. Felicevich in 11th. 12th belongs to Andrew Draco at the moment. Cameron Jackson 13th ahead of Elise Alexander. Julia Takani. Mateus Michelin now in the 16th spot. Wyatt Jones stays 17th over Thomas Rogers. Everyone pretty well spread out at the moment as this race gets underway in earnest. Shufan Zhang off sequence. You see there's where the skid marks were for Shufan Zhang and Mateus Michelin. And Letty not far away through turns 1 and 2, being shadowed by the 3-time world champion Porter-Kelly. 2 former world champions top of the field at the moment, including the defending world champion in Nicole Lecty. That is Porter and Kovalkiewicz, and Leon top 5. So 3 former world champions top 5 with Leon in 5th. A lot of work to do across this 87 lap race, 192 miles here in Chicago. Again, it's all about managing your tire wear. This track seems simple until you actually get down to the nitty-gritty of it. The braking, the close quarters, the close confines, the zero tolerance for mistakes and overdriving. It's no wonder at a track like this where you see 2 of the best road racers in the series racing 1-2 at the moment. Lecty leads the way in that TE connectivity, number 78. It's Porter-Kelly in the 2nd spot. Porter in 3rd. Ahead of Kovalkiewicz still. Leon top 5. Leroux, that 77 Rebel car, closing in. Free agent in 2025. Leroux's got to put her stock together. She's got Rebel backing. Red Bull will be leaving Highlight Racing with Leroux at the end of the year. Leroux trying to show her place in the field. Sitting ahead of Kozlov, a race winner this season now. Glover, a race winner as well, won his home race at Texas. And a driver still looking for their first win. That's Ishibashi, still looking for a win this season. Valdez got one at Homestead, Miami. Velicevic still looking for a race win. Got one last year. Andrew Draco looking for a race win again as well. Got one late in the season last year in Night City. Cameron Jackson, race winner at Nashville this year, breaking a almost 4-year winless drought. Alexander still looking for her first race win. It'd be hard to do from 14th in the running order at the moment. Never say never, though, here at Chicago. And the top 15 capped off by Juliette Tacani. Wyatt Jones stuck lockstep with Michelin and ahead of Thomas Rogers, who has a race win on a street course. Won the first race in Melbourne earlier this year. The second of his 2 wins as he opened up the season strong. Has not been able to replicate that since. Stays ahead of Keiko Kobayashi, 19th on the grid. Esther Hofson rounds out the top 20. And then it's a huge separation between the midfield and those at the back right now. Really struggling in the relegation zone. Catherine Hart seemed like there was a chance for things to really go right after winning at Nazareth 7 days ago. It has been everything but okay for the 31 team here in Chicago. Xufeng Zhang on an island, a minute adrift of the race leader in a 72-second lap. She's got 12 seconds between herself and Lechty at this point to stay on the lead lap. Lechty's led every lap so far. We're on lap 10 of 87 with 78 laps to go, fitting, given who's out front right now. And again, we're looking at an easy 2-stop race. Drivers at this point, they could try to save and make it on just one stop, but that is a tall ask. They have to get to lap 43 to make that one-stop strategy work. Now, passing is of a premium here at Chicago until you get the later stages where lap traffic is a factor. Lap traffic, the equalizer that it always is here in the Champ Car World Series, could really throw the leaders off their game. However, this is a pretty big however, it'll be hard to get to that point as things run. Xufeng Zhang, the first really big threat to B lap traffic, still sits a decent penny up the road, not even on the same straightaway as the race leader still. So Lechty able to really control the pace here unless Portugali turns on the jets, and they've seemed pretty well locked in tandem as this has all come along so far in this season. They both struggled in the early parts as Chevrolet had to get up to speed. He's at every lap so far from pole position. Now on lap 12. Again, we think the undercut's going to be very powerful. It may not help so much if you're this far back from the late race leaders already. Evangeline Porter sitting firmly in that 3rd spot. But 4 seconds adrift of the race leader. Race leader still in sight, and obviously she's still on her own, pretty paceful, because she's not under threat from Kovalkiewicz, she's not under threat from Leon, and there's still a gap all the way down to Simona Leroux and then Artyom Kozlov. So definitely still pretty comfortable to the championship leader at this point. Had a chance to talk to Porter before this race. She is the championship leader at this point by 22 points over Mia Valdez. That would extend quite a handsome amount if things hold as they are, with Porter in 3rd and Valdez in 10th. Wyatt Jones in the 17th position. And then Glover sitting right now in the 8th spot. she would gain on everybody in the top 10. Only people she'd lose to is Lecty and Porter Kelly, who are not in the top 10 at the moment, trying to get into the top 10, and they've got a high climb to make. We talked about the winless drought, all the way back to Loudest Rain 2016, the dead horse we keep beating here on the broadcast. And Porter mentioned something very important. Accepting that race wins don't mean as much as championships. She's at a point right now that she's not been in several years, and that is in championship contention. Ironically, the last time she was in championship contention, she was a race winner that season. Unfamiliar territory. Porter has shifted her attention from being a race winner, from trying to go for those all-important race wins, to looking at the big picture. Being calculated, being methodical, accepting that podiums are enough in a very chaotic series, like Champ Car has been. Consistent podiums, consistent top 5s, consistent top 10s are more important towards championship ambitions. A race win followed by a DNF does not help you as much as a podium and a 5th, like a 3rd and a 5th, or a 3rd and a 6th. Being clinical at a time where everyone else is feast or famine has been a big difference for the 81 team so far this year. They've been strong a lot of races, just not race winning strong. They've not been the strongest car in a race at any point of the season so far, but they've been there at the end. And right now, Porter's in a good spot to be where she needs to be right now, as caution has come out. And trouble. We'll have to look to see where that caution came out from. Looks like it could be from Astrid Crane. Decent amount of damage on the 80 car for Crane. See if we can get any explanation as to what happened to bring out the first caution of the race. That will neutralize the field. I think we're going to get a decent look at it. This is approaching turn. Oh, locked up under brakes. Locked it up big time under brakes. And I don't think she was alone in that. Oh, just actually clipped the inside wall. Just saw that. Slow it down here. Crane turned in too quickly and tagged the inside wall. And through debris there in turn 1. That's on the pit exit too. So it's less about the accident, more about the debris on pit exit that track officials could not get to if they were going to try to retrieve that debris on pit exit. Would have been a real hazard for those that wanted to come down pit lane if they decided to come down pit lane early on this 2-stop strategy. So that resets the field here. So caution out for the first time today for Astrid Crane in turn 1. All 26 cars still rolling. Crane will come down pit lane to get repair work done, as will likely Matthias Mitchell. I would assume the entire field will. Just get fresh tires and kick that second pit stop down the road a little bit. You're at a point right now where realistically this is still a 2-stop race. If you stop now, it's still a 2-stop race. This stop and then your final stop, which would then be around, realistically, about lap 50. Lap 50, lap 53-ish. That would get you all the way to 87. So we'll see. A lot of checkups going on right now. Very tight, confined street circuit. Ebbs and flows. And yeah, that was not a surprise, seeing most of the field come down pit lane that time. However, not everyone does. Sakura Ishibashi stays out. So Sakura Ishibashi will move to the front of the field. Bonus point for a lap led. That changes some things. And it looks like Ishibashi is the only one that stays out. This is bold, but I like the call. Chief and Zhang coming around the corner here. See if Zhang comes down pit lane. Yeah, why not? Gets you get back on the same strategies as everyone else, get some fresh tires, and get going. Hazel Leon gets out of pit lane quickly. So will Valdez. Oh, very close on the pit exit there between Wyatt Jones and Nicole Lechty. We'll see who gets that position. It will be Hazel Leon behind Sakura Ishibashi. Teammates 1, 2, and 3. Looks like Wyatt Jones may have been credited with 4th on the pit exit there. Lights still on the pace car as the field catches back up. The lights just went off on the pace car, which means we are going green at the end of this lap. Everyone getting caught up. Stephanie Porter-Kelly behind Lechty still. Very important in this fight. Not a great pit stop there for Evangeline Porter behind both the Arrowhead cars now of Kovalkiewicz and Takani. BK Glover behind Porter. Then it's Felicevich, LaRoe, Draco, Jackson. And everyone trying to catch up here, trying to get themselves in order because they are held up right now further behind. Michelin trying to get around because they're getting ready to come to the green flag here. They've got to get themselves sorted out quickly. And Kozlov well out of position right now. This is crazy. Everyone trying to get in position here. They got to get themselves in position quickly because they're around the final corner now at the front of the field. They're approaching the restart zone. And we're going to see green flag racing once again. Ishibashi leads, and it's immediately almost a fan-out effect in the turn 1. Wyatt Jones got covered up there by Mia Valdez, who's really just kind of protecting the team at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's all 4. It's Wyatt Jones looking for another podium. His first podium came on a street course back in Toronto last year. But he is under threat now from the pole sitter and the defending world champion, Nicole Lechty. Into turn 4. Wyatt Jones wildly out of position, did not have a lot of pace here. Now he's up in the top 5 at the moment as things stand. Further back, this is LaRoe and Porter side by side. Chevrolet versus Ford. Into turn 7. And Porter really tight there. Let the slide in the lane. Around the fountain they go. The fan zone here in Grant Park. And LaRoe's up a spot. Wyatt Jones tires up the temperature, no longer as slow as he was on that opening lap. Now top 5. Ishibashi continues to lead after staying out on the racetrack. That is Artyom Kozlov, who got a penalty for not giving up positions before the restart. We said that Kozlov was out of position, and that was the case. And now Kozlov is a lap down. Under threat now to go even further down the order by Mia Valdez. Wyatt Jones will put the 3 car 3 wide. Wyatt Jones looking for a 2-for-1 special, and it's not going to happen. These two fighting it out. Wyatt Jones really desperately trying to get on the podium here. Lechty got around Kozlov. Something seems to be amiss on that 3 car, who is well slower than the rest of the field at the moment. Now holding up Porter-Kelly and the Arrowhead Racing duo, who are going to try to go for a position here. And instead, Porter-Kelly is going to pull away. And Kozlov's in the middle, 3 wide, approaching turn 1, a very tight part of the racetrack. Kozlov in huge trouble at the moment. There's a huge gathering of cars. Car in the wall. Michelin once again. We stay green, but Michelin still struggling with turn 2. And that'll allow Kobayashi to go through. Here comes Captain Hart peeking to the inside of turn 4 before holding station. Race leader Ishibashi did not pit on that pit stop with everybody else. Was the only driver to stay out. Everyone getting around Kozlov at this point in time, who is just being swarmed and put a lap down. Something is critically wrong with the 3 car of Kozlov. Hobson gets around Kozlov there. Through 11, now towards turn 12. Michelin's tagged the wall twice now in this race. We're trying to get themselves corrected and ready to go here. It is Ishibashi, Leon, and Valdez, your top 3. Cat Devil Racing 1, 2, and 3 at the moment. You bet first Chevrolet is all the way down in 5th place. Nicole Leck, the pole sitter, who's led 14 laps of this race. Asher Crane out of this race after tagging the wall and causing the first caution in it. Now officially out of the race due to that contact. Trying to find a way to reel back in those at the front of the field after having things look so good at the start. Track position, the name of the game here in Chicago. There's Kovalkiewicz and Takani, your top 8 at the moment. Glover 9th, Vilicevic now 10th. Ahead of LaRoe. Draco's gotten ahead of Porter, as has Cameron Jackson. Porter's dropped down to 14th place. Not a great time, and you're seeing the handling issues hard on the throttle out of turn 2 for Porter. As she struggles here on this new set of tires. Wyatt Jones, Indianapolis 500 champion. Got a podium at Nazareth last weekend during the Saturday night race. Trying to put together a championship run as we approach the midway point in the season, which happens in the not too distant future here. Next week, June 9th, the Honda Grand Prix of Ohio from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. That's race 12. The end of the first half of the season is there. And then it's the Quaker State 300 from Kentucky Speedway. That is on June 16th. June 23rd, the Spire Grand Prix of Denver from Denver Motorsports Park. And then the Methanex Grand Prix of Portland to end out the month of June on June 30th. Every weekend this month in June, we've got racing going on, and it caps off with July 7th Chevrolet 500 from Michigan International Speedway. And that's the 2/3 of the way point in the season. So June is the month of progress in business. And you're seeing front of the field, Sakura Ishibashi in clean real estate, unstoppable at the moment, catching up to the slower car of Bianca Lucero. Michelin, meanwhile, has dropped all the way down on his own, having had to have made a pit stop after tagging the wall again out of turn 2. Turn 2 has been a calamity corner for a lot of drivers. It's not where the caution came out. Caution came out in turn 1. Traffic slowing up Ishibashi here, and it's allowing everyone behind to catch up here. Rounding turn 12. Start lap 25 here in Chicago. Porticali sitting down in the 6th spot, unable to make any progress on Nicole Leckie, who led the first 14 laps of this race. Ishibashi now has led the last 10 laps of this race so far. Struggling with lap traffic, it's allowing everyone to close back in, thanks to the inadvertent assist from Bianca Lucero. Ishibashi really struggling to try to get around the 88 of Lucero here. The moment ooh, really big slide there for Ishibashi, and it's going to give Hazel Leon opportunity. Down approaching turn 4. Leon just not close enough to take advantage of it, but Ishibashi getting frustrated. Maya Jones trying to find a way around Mia Valdez as well. Impatience beginning to take hold here. Whoa, car in the wall. That was trouble. That is Takani, and I think Leckie tagged the wall too. So Takani loses spots pretty swiftly there. Leckie held on to 5th place. But everyone now struggling, everyone trying to close the gaps and try to make some moves happen here. And everyone at risk of potentially throwing their races away, like what we've seen there with Lucero, what we've seen with Kozlov, what we've seen with Michelin and Asher Crane, and Shufan Zhang as well, who's caught back up in his tail end of the field right now, but in the mix. On lap 28 now of 87. And trouble, that's Ishibashi in the fence. Ishibashi, we saw her get loose last lap. And now she's in trouble. Leon now leads. Ishibashi trying to hold on to 2nd place. And now it's Wyatt Jones up to 3rd ahead of Valdez. So Jones up to third. It is now Leon, Ishibashi, and Jones top three. Everyone fanning out further behind, though, as everyone's made trips towards the concrete barriers here in this race. It is now up to Leon to try to find a way around Bianca Lucero. Closing in once again. Now it's Leon on the high seat. Jones there sitting in the third spot and gets loose. Just about everyone gets loose there out of two. And here comes Ishibashi once again attacking Leon into turn four. Leon saves it, stays in the race lead, but teammates duking it out here in the top three. Really in the top four, Wyatt Jones breaking up the teammate kerfluffle there. I want to talk about how important street races can be. Hazel Leon's first win in Champ Car. Go all the way back to 2020, Toronto. Same with Wyatt Jones in his first podium in Champ Car competition, also in Toronto. Now both of them top three right now. Leon leading over Ishibashi and Wyatt Jones. As the whole field goes on by, top 10 capped off by Simona Leroux, who is shadowing the 95 at Takani, who tagged the wall earlier. And a car in the fence, big time, Porter Kelly. Who's gonna lose spots. Lost out to Glover and Takani, and Porter Kelly lost out to Kovalkiewicz as well. So everyone's struggling to put power down out of turn two in particular. Now here's Leroux trying to tackle that 60 car. Into turn 7. And Leroux's going to get it. So put Porter Kelly down the 10th place after starting this race in third. Everyone's slipping and sliding around here in Chicago. This is a lot slipperier of a track than what we had last year. Ooh, a lot of sliding going on there. Everyone careful that time. Porter and Rogers letting it hang out a little bit. There's Hobson and Kobayashi, 17th and 18th. 19th, Catherine Hart. And then 20th right now, Anastasius von Sonnen right now in 20th place ahead of Marcus Petrovic and Shufan Zhang. Leon right now sitting in the race lead, still stuck behind Lucero, and you see a car further up the road. That is Artyom Kozlov about to go a second lap down. That's going to really put a mix in things. Best lap by Leon, a 112.343. Last lap, a 114.015. So pretty significant pace difference right now. Got 3 different race leaders. Pole sitter Nicole Letty led 14 laps. Sakura Shibashi led 13. Hazel Leon now on lap 7, coming around to complete that as a lap led. So right now, Lefty's still holding the most laps led bonus points. That's sitting right now in the 5th position. And this is all part of the struggle. Wyatt Jones, whoa, Valdez in the wall hard. Almost to a complete stop, Valdez keeps going. Wyatt Jones tail slapped it, Valdez slapped the wall. And Valdez now down the 9th, behind Simona Leroux. Meanwhile, look here, that is Kozlov going a second lap down. Something significantly amiss on that 3 car. So Kozlov now 2 laps down. Nishikovakevich trying to find a way around, trying to brute force a way around Kozlov there, and will do so. It seems like it's a power issue for Kozlov. All that time is lost in the straightaways. All of it's lost in the. It's got to be a power issue for Kozlov that they're trying to nurse. Whoa, car in the fence, car in the tire barrier. Porter Kelly again. And that was in the tires too. That was a way heavier impact that time. That drops Porter Kelly down to the 16th position behind her teammate, Elise Alexander. This racetrack not being kind to the Striker Motorsports Chevrolets. is pulled away as Wyatt Jones has now taken second place over Ishibashi there. I believe Ishibashi has peeled into pit lane. And that is indeed the case. Ishibashi down pit lane now. Remember, Ishibashi did not pit on that caution. Made it all the way to lap 39. Sorry, lap 38, excuse me. Before making a pit stop there. So our pit number, we had 35 to 38 laps, was spot on. And that means Ishibashi's now going to have the freshest tires of anyone in the field. And free and clean real estate to put those tires to use. So realistically, that gets you to about lap 50 to lap 53 is where we're going to see our race leaders come down pit lane. So we got another about 14, 15 laps before we see some of these drivers come down pit lane. And that should get you pretty easily to the end of the race. Oh, Wyatt Jones comes in now. Wyatt Jones comes in right now. He's covering off Ishibashi. He thinks Ishibashi's strategy is the correct one. Now remember, Wyatt Jones and the Ludwig Motorsports camp and the Cat Double Racing camp are not working together. It's Atomic Autosport that's got a partnership with Ludwig Motorsports. So they've pivoted from their original sequence to cover off Sakura Ishibashi, who's around turn 11 right now. Wyatt Jones, slow crawl, 37 miles an hour. See the rest of the field going through turn 6. Really good shot down the front straightaway there. He's going to have the advantage there on Ishibashi on the pit exit here. I think Ishibashi got held up by Michelin. So Wyatt Jones leapfrogs Ishibashi there, and now both of them have the advantage of being in clean air at the front of the field. Further behind, this is everyone trying to get around Kozlov still. That is Petrovic in the 21, Kozlov in the 3. Von Sonen's gotten around, and so will Shufan Zhang slowly around the fountain. Everyone else still going all the way to end the sequence here. And the reason why I think this is a way better strategy call, if they can get to 53, that puts them right in range to finish this race at the end. Because that gets them 34 laps. We know that they're in range. If they can go all the way to 53, they've got no more stops after the one on lap 53. Whereas Wyatt Jones and Sakura Ishibashi, they've got another pit stop to make. So that puts Nicole Lehti up to second place here. Ishibashi led 13 laps in this race. Lehti led 14. Leon's about to lead her 13th lap. And most has been behind lap traffic of Bianca Lucero, who's just trying to stay on the lead lap in case something happens, because we've seen a lot of cars tag the wall in turn 2. Especially if there's another car that tags the wall in turn 1, that puts Lucero in the driver's seat to get back not only on the lead lap and stay on the lead lap, but also rejoin the rest of the field. Everyone's getting around Kozlov. Wyatt Jones about to approach Kozlov. This will hurt. Even if just for a moment, it'll hurt. And Leon in the driver's seat, looking for her first win since her return to the Champ Car. Filling in for the injured Kinemitsu Kinoshita. Right on the bumper, right on the gearbox there of Leon, trying to get back to the race lead. Leon's now led 15 laps over Lecty's 14. Keep an eye on third place as well. Alicia Kovalkiewicz, BK Glover, also in the top 5 there, along with Juliet DeCani, Simona Leroux, up to 6th. And Lucero just holding up the, oh, that could be a big costly mistake there for Lucero, and a chance for Leon to squeak on through, which she does. That's huge for Leon, away from the lap traffic. Now it's on Lecty Kovalkiewicz to do the same. One slight mistake by Lucero allowed Hazel Leon some free real estate at the front of the field, and now it's clean air all the way through. When you saw it going through the corner, that's Wyatt Jones and Sakura Ishibashi approaching Artyom Kozlov. And one of the tightest parts of the racetrack here. This is the fountain area. And Leon's in the free and has already checked out. Leon continues to lead the way. Lecty now stuck behind Lucero. And then you have Alicia Kovalkiewicz there in third. But now Leon looking a lot more comfortable. Porter trying to put pressure on Cameron Jackson here. Up to the top 10. Again, pit stops. We're expecting pit stops here. We're at lap 45, and in about the next 5 to 8 laps is realistically the expectation here. 3 different race leaders so far. Leon, the current one, has led for 18 laps and has walked away, made a really daring move in the fountain section to get around and get away, and has now set her fastest lap of the race. And is just gone. 4 seconds already. You want to talk about opening up the gap. And the reason why this is important, Wyatt Jones and Sakura Ishibashi, for a temporary period of time, will be in the lead of the race. So now Hazel Leon has the ability and has it in her control to try to reel that back in and minimize that damage. And that's exactly what she's going for right now. Leon going ballistic right now. Everyone's still stuck behind Lucero and really in trouble and struggling at the moment. This is battle for second place right now on the road between Lechty and Kovalkiewicz. Had one caution in this race for Asher Crane, who is out of this race after she tagged the wall in turn 1, ultimately with too much damage to continue. It's been green since. That was lap 15. Let's talk about keeping things going. This is where we're at right now. Lechty the pole sitter, sitting second. It's Hazel Young leading now by 5.5 seconds, and that's going to just grow and grow and grow. The more that Bianca Lucero holds up the leaders, and here's actually Hazel Leon in a few laps early. Here at the end of lap 47, that gives Lechty the race lead back. So now we're looking once again at the race leader. And the race leader almost threw it in the turn 2 wall once again. Firestone tires screaming with heat. Again, they're trying to get to 80, or trying to get to 53, and that looks like Julia Takani coming down, and not just Takani. That is the 34 of Valdez, the 7 of Vilicevic, the 31 of Catherine Hart also in pit lane. So more cars coming down pit lane this time, and that puts them in danger of not making it to the end of the race on fuel. Again, the mileage that we saw from Sakura Ishibashi was 38 laps on the nose. 2 laps of caution helped out. Realistically, still looking at about 35, 36 laps on fuel. Everyone coming in early seems to show that that may not be the case. Which is strange, because everyone's been in traffic. You should be saving more fuel in traffic, not burning up more fuel, unless they're looking at the tire advantage, thinking that they can make up more time. We're going to find out. We're coming to lap 50. And the race leader, the top 3 have stayed out the last couple laps here. And staying out once more. Everyone, I think, largely in this top 5 group, all the way down to Andrew Draco, sitting pretty confident on their number to try to make it to lap 53. No! Esther Hobson in the wall to clips the pit attenuator. And that's going to be day done. No caution because Esther Hobson kept it rolling, but that's going to be day done for Hobson. And she'll end up being classified with a 24th place finish. Alexander in pit lane. There's Porter Kelly coming to her pit box, the 3rd pit box in the line. There's Wyatt Jones, Sakura Ishibashi, and Hazel Leon came out ahead of Ishibashi. But again, you're looking at cars right now that cannot make it to the end of this race as things currently stand. Those that stand the best chance are those that have stayed out the longest. You're looking at the pole sitter who's in that group right now. Again, lap 53, the number that these drivers need to try to hit. You need to, at the very least, try to get as close as possible to it. 38 laps was the number that Ishibashi hit with assistance from the caution. One more lap around at least for those in the top 4. Kovalkiewicz comes down pit lane this time. Glover now in 2nd. Long, slow drive, 37 miles an hour, 50 kilometers an hour down pit lane. Wyatt Jones being hunted down by Leon and Ishibashi. Again, it's all about trying to get to that magic number. This is going to be critical. Coming to complete lap 51, 2 cars out. Astra Crane on lap 15. Esther Hobson just recently after attacking the pit entry wall, making a late dive to pit lane, missed her mark. Now will be classified 25th and will just walk away with 5 points from the evening. Nicole Lecter, your pole sitter, has led 18 laps in this race so far. The most laps led belongs to Hazel Leon, who's led 19. Another lap going. That's Porter Kelly back down pit lane. Oh, that's bad. That is really bad for Porter Kelly, who goes a lap down. That throws Porter Kelly out of the mix. A little bit of slide there by Lecty, who's at the end of the tire life as well. Glover in pursuit. Glover has never won on a street circuit in his long tenured career in Champ Car, dating all the way back to 2010. And he joined as part of Highlight Racing. Oh, almost in it, a little bit too deep there in the turn 6. Saved it though, stays between the Red Bull Highlight Racing teammates there of Lecty and Leroux. And is this a pit stop for Lecty? It is. They made it to the end of lap 52. Andrew Draco going to go an extra step. So will Porter and so will Rogers. As Michelin leading pit lane, threading the needle there. So Andrew Draco now a race leader for the first time today. Draco, Porter, Rogers. Now we know they are in the best spot to end this race on fuel. Realistically, everyone that just came down pit lane, Lecty, Leroux, Glover in that mix, they also are good to go until the end of the race. They're going to have the best tires at the end of the race as well, having that advantage on the tire wear. Michelin struggling, and it's holding up Porter and Rogers. He's on cold tires. That's the downside of coming out of pit lane like that. He's on cold tires and he's struggling, on top of any damage that he's received in this race, which could be pretty severe. Porter's going to try to find a way around. I don't think it's going to be very valuable, as in comes Draco, in comes Porter, in comes Rogers. So Wyatt Jones will inherit the race lead, but unfortunately for Wyatt Jones, he will not be able to hold it the rest of the race unless a caution comes out and forces a pit stop for everybody. He does not have the fuel to go to the end. Wyatt Jones takes over the race lead. Right now it is a Pyrrhic victory, because there is Hazel Leon, who also right now we don't think is good to go. Porter Kelly now a lap down and in trouble. The first driver we think is good to go is right here, Nicole Lecty. Ooh, it's close between Lecty and Draco. Through turn 2. Draco, what a drive out of pit lane. Right away there for Draco too. This is the group that is safe on fuel. They are good to go to the finish. Again, we know that Wyatt Jones is not. We know that Ishibashi is not. Wyatt Jones now at the front of the field. His first lap led here today. Leon trying to close in that gap. Right now sitting front of the field, first, second, and third Ishibashi. Porter Kelly a lap down at the moment as things stand, but good on fuel. Doesn't have to come back down pit lane for the rest of the race. So realistically speaking, Porter Kelly will end up on the lead lap by race's end. Draco held on ahead of Lechty and Glover, but realistically, this is where your top five is going to be located. Looking at the fuel mileage, Evangeline Porter on the right strategy call, stretched the fuel numbers out a little bit. Wanted to be closer to Draco and these other two with Lechty and Glover, but I don't think a fourth place at the moment is going to be bad. And we talked about that earlier before the caution, where Porter's headspace was at, not worrying so much about race wins, worrying about consistent results and making sure you're in the right place to score more points than those around you. Those that's around her right now, she's going to lose points to all three of them. Draco not in the top 10. Glover in the top 10, though only gaining a handful of points as it sits. If things cycle out the way we think that they're going to, this is a big positive for Porter once again after this race. And you want to talk about equalizer, Draco now under threat once again after being held up by Artyom Kozlov. Big time positives, though, for this group as they get around Kozlov. Kozlov will not make it too awful difficult for her teammate. He's going to keep a straight line entering this corner. Kozlov keeps it clear and will 100% slow up, beating one of Porter. Gamesmanship right there at its highest quality. Porter going to try to find her way around. This is going into turn 12. And not going to be too much of a headache there again. Kozlov nursing an issue. It is a foul. It is a turbo issue. It is a plenum issue on the number 3 machine that has not been resolving itself. They're keeping the 3 out, trying the best that they can, just to hope that calamity kind of takes root here, so the 3 car can score some more points. Kozlov entered top 10 in points, but is set to drop out of that range really quickly. Here goes Rogers to the inside. Not going very well, though, because that is Julia Takani and that NOS Energy car, that 95 machine, that makes headway. This is Jackson finding a way around, and they're going to go 3 wide into the toughest part of the racetrack. Oh dear, not great. And that's not going to help Thomas Rogers at all. That's Captain Hart going by. And that is for the top 10. Rogers got really hosed there. And Captain Hart going to try to go through here to make that pass complete on Kozlov. Alexander going to try to line up a pass as well. Going to get held up into the line for turn 1. It is an all-out sprint, though, right now. There's wondering why Jones has been slowed down, because he has caught up to the back of Simona Leroux. 1:12.6 for Wyatt Jones last time around, 1:12.5, so a 10th faster for Leon. The gap right now is 5 seconds. It doesn't really matter at this point because none of these 3 are able to make it on fuel. That was confirmed to us here in the ABN booth. So we are very clear on where everyone stands on the fuel mileage and on the fuel economy. Coming to 28 laps to go next time by. They are not good to go. First one good to go right now is Andrew Draco, who is right here, entering turn 1 now. Ahead of Nicole Lechty, BK Glover, and Evangeline Porter. Julia Takani Sitting in 8th at the moment, ahead of Cameron Jackson, Catherine Hart, your top 10 at the moment. Again, all this subject to change because some of these drivers, even in this group, may not be safe. We just know the ones that pit on lap 51, 52, and 53, they were safe. Not everyone did that. Some pit way earlier in the sequence. So there is trouble brewing for those at the front of the field who are off by a decent chunk of change. Because Wyatt Jones is off not by a little. Hazel Leon's off by a few laps. As Kolokevich came down pit lane to take care of a flat tire. A lot of contact with that turn 2 wall. Kolokevich, one that fell victim to it. Leon is realistically 4 or 5 laps short on fuel. But you can save that. You can try to save that and try to stretch it out. If you're someone like Ishibashi, someone like Wyatt Jones, who are more than 10 laps short. Ishibashi came in on lap 38. Wyatt Jones came in on lap 40. They are more than 10 laps, 13 to 15 laps shy on fuel. They can't make it if they try. So they're definitely going to be down almost outside the top 10 in entirety here. They are pushing as much as they possibly can at the moment because any position they can pick up at the end of this race is going to be a net positive from where they could be. And that's the nightmare scenario. Oh, trouble! Leon with a failure. Leon with some sort of mechanical failure down the front straightaway. Trouble for the 32 of Leon. He's going to try to stay out of the way, but trouble for Leon, 32. Can that 32 make it all the way back? That was just past pit entry, too. That's a long way back. 2.2 miles they've got to go. Down to 70 miles an hour. Something's let go. And Leon's going to be caught up by a lot of cars here quickly. That is Draco. That is Lechty. Your presumptive race leaders once pit stops are made. Really, the only person that realistically had even had a chance to save fuel to try to make it to the end will fall out of this race. Times for the racetrack coming up here. Cameron Jackson threads the needle, goes through though. Green flag stays out. Catherine Hart, Elise Alexander. They make their way through. Thomas Rogers going to try to get through as well. This is approaching the fountain. Kobayashi going to try to get through. So will Natalia Velicevic. Everyone just kind of getting on through here. That's Valdez. There's Petrovic there as well. That is Von Sonnen, Shufan Zhang. Leon making the very slow crawl all the way back to pit lane. A full lap of helplessness for the Kiwi, who makes it to pit lane. And will retire from this race. Will be the fourth retirement from this race following Artyom Kozlov, who eventually retired. They have not given us a reason why yet. We're expecting to have an update on that shortly. Wyatt Jones, front of the field right now. You're looking at him as he sits behind the last car on the lead lap, Simona Leroux. We'll get updates on what's caused the accidents for both Artyom Kozlov and Hazel Leon here momentarily. We say accidents, retirements for them. Wyatt Jones, though, leading this race. He knows there's a pit stop coming. He's got a pit about lap 72-ish. Is about the number we're expecting to see Wyatt Jones come down pit lane. 112.8 for the race leader that last time through. See what his lap times look like this time by. His best lap's a 112.1. So he's fallen off quite a little bit. 112.9, so he's fallen off more and more. $112.9. What is Ishibashi looking at right now? 112.5 for Ishibashi. So Ishibashi still going faster. 4.1 the gap. Further down the order. Not even waiting. There's Andrew Draco there. Across the line this time. 112.5. Oh, tagged the inside wall there too. Cutting it a little bit too close there in turn 1. Is Andrew Draco. 112.5, 112.7 for Lecty, 112.2 for Glover. Glover the fastest of the 3 so far, last time by. And Porter in 112.4 range. Wyatt Jones and Ishibashi, both of them will come out well behind this group. This is 25 seconds adrift of the current race leader. A pit stop for the top 2 will make this the race leader. Regardless of whether or not they take fuel only or not, they will be behind this group. Trying to forecast where they'll slot in. It looks like they may slot in around Kage Kobayashi, the 12th place car right now. So potential for them to get back to the top 10 because they'll have the tire advantage. But definitely not a guarantee at this point. They would slot in ahead of Valdez, Petrovic, and Von Sonen. But they definitely won't be anywhere near the podium if things stay as they have been, which is caution-free, outside of the lap 15 incident with Crane. Getting confirmation, a gearbox issue. The fault for Kozlov in that 3 car, the gearbox, an issue. They lost everything below 4th gear, which is why Kozlov was so slow out of the corners, and eventually they lost the entire gearbox, so Kozlov out of this race. Hazel Leon out with an engine failure. So that's going to be a 10-place grid penalty for Leon next week in Mid-Ohio. Asher Crane out with a suspension failure. Esther Hoffman out after colliding with the pit entry wall. Those are the 4 retirements in this race so far. Andrew Draco again. We're looking at 3rd place Andrew Draco at the moment because he will become the race leader. That was Sakura Ishibashi already in pit lane. Pit stop coming early. Leaves Wyatt Jones on his own. I like where Ishibashi's head's at here. Pit now before you lose any more spots and any more time. Get where you need to go and get to the end of this race. Not against that thought process with less than coming to 21 laps to go. I said less than 25, but it's really closer to 20. 21 laps to go at the line for Wyatt Jones, who is still behind Simona Leroux. And this could be a pit stop for Wyatt Jones. Indeed it is. So they've come down pit lane early because they know they have to stop here in the next 6-7 laps anyway. So now you've got your new race leader, Andrew Draco, ahead of Nicole Lecty and BK Glover. Let's see where they all cycle out to. Slow crawl for Wyatt Jones, 37 miles an hour in pit lane. He just got to his box. You see him doing service now. He's got an even slower crawl. Leave pit lane. There's Wyatt Jones, there's Cameron Jackson. There's Catherine Hart. So he stays top 10, it looks like there. Just ahead of Thomas Rogers. There's Sakura Ishibashi, who stays ahead of Kaika Kobayashi where we expected. Ishibashi in 11th. Wyatt Jones will drop down to 9th place. Sorry, 8th place, excuse me. But under threat on cold tires from Elise Alexander. Race leader now, Andrew Draco, in charge of this race. Looking for a race win. His teammate won 7 days ago, Catherine Hart at Nazareth. Day 2 of that doubleheader. Night 20 laps to go as things run. Draco leads by 7/10 over Lecty. Is now in the hands of the top 5. Draco, Lecty, Glover, Porter, Takani. For top 5. Catherine Hart in 7th behind Cameron Jackson, ahead of Wyatt Jones, Elise Alexander 9th, Thomas Rogers your top 10 as things currently stand. Jones and Ishibashi are the 2 that have pit the latest. They have the freshest tires in the field, but we've seen tires not mean a whole lot. That is Koval Kalish coming down pit lane again. Not a good time for the 96 car, who had such a good qualifying effort yesterday as well. Andrew Draco, meanwhile, doing an outstanding job. Just methodical pace throughout this entire race so far. Some would say quintessential vintage Andrew Draco. Hard to say no to it. Andrew Draco qualified this race in 12th, started 11th, started inside row 6 due to the engine penalty for Takani, who qualified 8th. Just made his way up to the front. Strategy call worked out pretty well. Phenomenal pit stop under caution too on that lap 15 caution to put them on this sequence. And he's been consistent, 1:12.5s the last 4 laps. For Andrew Draco. He's been pretty on it for consistency here. So Draco leads over Lecty, over Glover. Porter sits in a very respectable 4th ahead of Takani. There's Jackson, there's Wyatt Jones, who's gotten ahead of Catherine Hart. I believe Catherine Hart came down pit lane. Indeed, she did come down pit lane. Remember, there's some of those that pit a little bit before the window that could not make it to the end. And I believe Catherine Hart was one of those drivers indeed. So not a great turn of events there for Catherine Hart, hoping that more drivers also have to come down pit lane before this race is over. This 13 car's been on the podium before, finished on the podium in Mexico City with David Wessel behind the wheel. Now it's Draco's turn. Another 1:12.5. He has been consistently on it. And it's a consistency that Lechty can't match right now. And they've got clean real estate too to make this happen. Coming to 16 laps to go. Keep tabs on as this race unfolds. Who needs to make last lap pit stops here to make it to the end of the race on fuel? (1:12.471) for Draco, even faster that time. Standing lap time there for Draco. Lechty went even faster though, 1:12.3. So now everyone's pushing a little bit more. (22 cars still running. 20 of them on the lead lap, from Draco all the way down to Porter Kelly in 20th place. Collecting 19 laps led, same as Bianca Lucero. Not Bianca Lucero, Hazel Leon, who retired with that engine failure. Coming to 8 laps led for Andrew Draco here. It seems hard without lap traffic for Lechty to close back in. 8 laps led for Draco, 13 for Wyatt Jones, 13 for Ishibashi as well. (15 laps to go). Take a perusal down the field here. This is Draco leading the way. That's Porter Kelly, last car on lead lap in 20th. Just gonna keep everyone in on where we're wrapping around to. Nicole Lechty sitting in second. Started this race on pole position. Needed a really good result. Right now has a really ironclad chance to get it. Sitting in second, BK Glover looking for another podium to go along with his race win in Texas earlier in the spring. Right now sitting in third. Meanwhile, your points leader, Evangeline Porter, another top 5. And what has been a consistency run that we've not seen in quite some time. Still winless through 11 races so far. As mentioned earlier, Evangeline Porter's focus has shifted. Championships mean more than race wins. Win a championship, that's the top priority. 4th place right now for Porter. Julia Takani tagged the wall once. Has not visited it since. Top 5 right now for Takani, who's matching the race leader's pace, 1:12.5s for the 95 crew. Cameron Jackson sitting a distant 6th place, 13.5 seconds away from Draco at the moment, but on an island. Wyatt Jones, he's closing in the gap, but it's a large gap to close into, and traffic between him and the race leader. 19.7 the gap now for the 25 crew, who are on some of the freshest tires in the field. Wyatt Jones, though, in 7th place, may sort of be capsized and stuck in that position until the end of the race. Lisa Alexander in 8th place, a good turnaround for the Striker Motorsports driver who did not have pace in qualifying, finding it here in the race, sitting in 8th position ahead of Thomas Rogers, who sits 9th, and Sakura Ishibashi in 10th position, recovering from a very bad pit cycle, sitting in that 10th spot. 11th place, Kage Kobayashi sitting ahead of Natalia Veliswich in 12th. 21st, first car lap down is Alicia Kovalkiewicz. 13th place is a little bit further back there. That's Bianca Lucero, who's also not 13th. That is 22nd. Second car, last car lap down in this contest. This is Mia Valdez in 13th place, the Pepsi number 34. Sitting just behind Lucero and ahead of Marcus Petrovic there, sitting in 14th. One of his best results so far this season, and a much needed result. Same for Anastasius von Sonnen from 26th to 15th, up 11 spots as this race progresses on. Shufeng Zhang, a good recovery drive, was down in 26th early in this race, now up to 16th place in that number 20 for Dragon Motorsports. Mateus Michelin, 17th place as well, also on the lead lap. Then you have Simona Leroux on an island in the 18th position. 19th is where you'll see Catherine Hart, and then 20th again, Steffi Porter-Kelly at the very end of the field. But it's all eyes once again. Andrew Draco, front of the field, coming to 12 laps to go. And Letty's keeping him honest. The gap has not grown more than 0.8 of a second. That is a couple of small mistakes or one major mistake away from losing the race lead. Coming to 10 laps to go. Andrew Draco still holding pace. The pace has dropped a little bit. Now they're down to 112.8, which helps out. Obviously, you look at Wyatt Jones is in the 112.6s. Julia DeConnie's in the 112.5s. So obviously still some people out there with pace. Laps to go in this race. Andrew Draco has been on fire though. 13 laps led, ahead of Nicole Lechty, BK Glover in third. And there is DeConnie, who set the fastest lap of the field that last time by. Faster than Wyatt Jones at the moment, which is interesting because Wyatt Jones has got clean real estate and the best tires in the field. DeConnie outbested him there on that last lap. So Wyatt Jones struggling on his own as well. Wyatt Jones not around Cameron Jackson. Still 4 seconds to drift there of the 19 car before he can battle for that 6th spot. And then 9 laps to go. Top 5 pretty close together here in Chicago. All of them within 3.5 seconds here in the top 5. Cameron Jackson 15 seconds to drift, so the losing time on the race leaders. He was 13 seconds last time when we went through the field. Now he's down to about 16 seconds, so he's lost time. Wyatt Jones about 20 seconds still, so he's not gained on the race leader. Follow the top 5 through around the fountain in the fan zone. pull a gap a little bit again, up to about 9/10 there between Draco and Lecty as Takani tries to close in on Porter and really seal together this top 5. Takani, a podium sitter already this season, first podium of her career at Nashville. Gonna be a hard task to try to get back ahead of Porter and try to get around BK Glover here without pit stops coming in late. And it doesn't seem like any of these top 5s are gonna make that last pit stop. Seems like everyone's pretty well laid out the situation for everyone to see. Draco, though, did make a mistake because Lecty just shaved half the gap away that last lap. 1:12.4 versus 1:12.8. Pulled in a good 4/10 out of that. Pressure beginning to intensify as Lecty tries to go for a race win. Same with Andrew Draco. Neither have won a race this season. Let's look down at Glover, who's won a race. Glover's the only one in the top 5 that has won a race this season. Laps tick away, coming to 6 laps to go. And a lot of fun, as we mentioned before. We'll say it again. Next weekend, first half of the season comes to a close in Mid-Ohio for the Honda Grand Prix of Ohio. It's June 9th. 1 p.m. Eastern. Coverage begins right here on ABN. Draco doing a fantastic job, continuing to lead. Gap moving back up to 8/10. Lecty with a 1:12.9, struggling with that consistency as well now. These tires near the end of their lifespan, but they've got to hold on just for another 6 laps to get to pay dirt. Draco can hold on for these last 5 laps coming up to. He will take the most laps led as well. He's coming to lead lap 18 for himself in this race. Most anyone's led so far was 19. Both Lecty and Leon led those laps. Five laps to go here in Chicago. This is where if you have any answer at all, you put it together. 1:12.6 last time around for Lecty. It was a 1:12.36 for Draco, who's now put Lecty a second away. This is where Draco comes alive. This is where vintage Draco comes into full form. The finisher, Andrew Draco. He comes to full form right here. 3 laps to go. Letty's clawed the gap back in a little bit there. So it's just about running good laps here. 6/10 is the difference. Draco now has the most laps led bonus points there. Looking for 53 if he can get it. It's points that he desperately needs. Points his teammate desperately needed as well, but Catherine Hart's would end up being just 19th place by the time this is all said and done. Into turn 7 now. Coming to 2 laps to go. For Andrew Draco, Nicole Letty sitting in 3rd. Oh, that's trouble. That was trouble for Draco. Oh, that was a bad entry into the fountainous section. Is that blood in the water? Coming to 2 laps to go. We're going to find out exactly what that is. Takani had to make a pit stop, could not go the rest of the distance without making a pit stop for fuel. So Takani's dropped off with his top 4 fight. Puts Cameron Jackson top 5 and in a fight for 5th with Wyatt Jones. That moves just about everyone up a little bit. This puts Takani behind. That's behind Kovalkiewicz, who's not on the lead lap, but behind Kobayashi, who is now in the 10th spot. So that puts Takani in 11th. Through the fountain section. 2 laps to go. Coming to the white flag lap. Almost showtime here for Andrew Draco, who won last time in Night City last year. Andrew Draco will start the final lap. 1 lap to go, presented by PNC Bank. .2 miles separates him from another race win in his career. It'll be his 12th. It'll put him level with Eva Gainsberg, who had 12 wins in the World Championship career. It moves him ahead of Ishibashi and Jamie Marie Jardine, who were level with him on 11 wins going into today. Through turn 6 into turn 7 now as they go across the bridge for the first time. And then around the fan area through East Congress Plaza Drive. Into turn 11 for the final time with 1 corner to go. Andrew Draco played strategy to perfection. He'll come around turn 12 for the last time. The DoorDash Grand Prix at Chicago belongs to Andrew Draco. He wins in Chicago. Draco gets career win number 12. And it's a 2nd in a row for Phantom Motors after winning Sunday a week ago in Nazareth with Catherine Hart. Nicole Letty finishes 2nd, but it's all about Andrew Draco, who wins once again. Victorious here in Chicago. Massive points haul for Draco. Nicole Letty in 2nd, BK Glover 3rd. Good points haul for both of them. Evangeline Porter massively extends her range at the top of the championship standings, though. 32 points in her favor, 35 in the favor of Glover. So Glover gains 3 points there. She gains on everyone else. Cameron Jackson gains on Wyatt Jones. Wyatt Jones in 6th, 28 points, will fall further adrift. Trying to stay within touching distance. That'll be very difficult. There's Thomas Rogers in 8th, 9th place Ishibashi. There's Kobayashi top 10, ahead of Takani 11th place. Alexander out of fuel, finishing 7th in this race. Got the result, even if it meant running out of fuel on the back straightaway. Marcus Petrovic in 12th. 13th for Anastasius von Sonnen. Shufin Zhang 14th ahead of Matthias Michelin. Simona Leroux 16th. Natalia Velisevich 17th ahead of Catherine Hart and Stephanie Porter-Kelly, who ended up 19th place in this race. Mia Valdez ended up a lap down after having to make a pit stop at the end of the race, so that'll hurt Valdez a ton going into this. "11 races down, it is Andrew Draco's day in Chicago, a race winner once again for the 12th time in his career in the World Championship. Joins a long list of race winners this season as well. A lot of different race winners in this season. Only one that's, I think, won more than one race is Thomas Rogers, who won the opening 2 rounds of the season. Thomas Rogers, Kage Kobayashi, Kunika Noshida, BK Glover, Cameron Jackson, Mia Valdez, Wyatt Jones, Artyom Kozlov, Catherine Hart, and now Andrew Draco. That is 10 winners in 11 races. Almost as insane and as unpredictable as the Challenger Series that we saw yesterday in Watkins Glen. A lot more racing to come here across both Champ Car seasons. Next weekend, it's just the World Series. It's the Honda Grand Prix of Ohio from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. You see the lights on the pace truck, kind of indicating that there's a car that could not make it back to pit lane under their own power, getting the safety crews sent out in time. Honda Grand Prix of Ohio from Mid-Ohio next weekend. The next Challenger Series race is the weekend after that, Saturday, June 15th, from Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be going right on down the list. Kentucky Speedway, the Quaker State 300 on June 23rd. And then June 16th for Kentucky, June 23rd for Denver, June 30th for Portland. We are racing every weekend in June in the World Series. So a lot of racing coming up here all throughout the month of June here on ABN. On behalf of everyone here for ABN, for the Champ Car World Series, for AT&T, for Horizon Corporation, and everyone at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you all for joining us here from Chicago. We'll see you next weekend in Mid-Ohio. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you next time. Signing off from Chicago.